Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the JMPRO2K podcast. I am the CEO of JMPRO2K, Justin Michaels, and we have a great show here in store for you here tonight. We have two great guests, and both of them are part of JMPRO2K management. We have the two EVPs of JMPRO2K. Right next to me is my good friend, longtime partner, Donny Dumps. How you doing, Donny?
Forget about it.
And then on the other side of things, via satellite, we have Eddie Vengeance, the newest EVP of JMPRO2K. How you doing, Eddie?
I'm doing mighty well.
All right. So this is going to be a great podcast. We get to talk to you guys about your new roles in JMPRO2K. Well, I should say, Eddie, your new role in JMPRO2K. I know, Donnie, you've been doing this a long time. And on top of that, we're going to talk about some of the things developing on your brands. Obviously, Eddie Vengeance is the EVP and GM of Power Plant. And then, of course, Donnie Dumps is the founder, the EVP and GM of Showdown. And both these brands, especially this season, have come out with a lot of success, putting out high numbers, and really just seems to be entertaining our crowds. So, Donnie, we're going to start with you. You know, just coming into season 5, we shut down operations real early last season. We weren't able to come up with a finale or nothing like that. So what were your goals for Showdown coming into the 5th season of JMPRO2K?
Well, first off, the goal was to be the A show yet again. Yeah, I mean, forget about it. The second goal, I spent my stimulus package, put together a new set, you know what I mean, which I'm going to debut on the next episode, you know what I mean, forget about it. While we were shut down, I was stacking the cash, you know what I'm saying, getting that government paycheck, forget about it.
And there you go. And moving on to Eddie Vengeance. Eddie, I know you are known for your history with running Legacy World Wrestling. You're an icon in the business when it comes to what you can do as an executive for any type of wrestling product. Let's talk about and elaborate on what brought you here to JMPRO and what potential you saw in Power Plant.
Well, first things first, I got canned for my own promotion. You know, I got kicked out. The board of directors, they ganged up on me. They kicked the owner out. So I got canned. I was gonna just stay at home. The other thing, then I got a call. And then I realized I could still make stars. Won't be legacy, but I'm still in the business of making superstars. So I came to Power Plant. And now I'm just trying to make sure Power Plant is as good as the rest of the JMPRO product.
And moving on to that, I mean, a lot of people thought it was controversial the way you came into Power Plant. I mean, obviously, the first episode of Power Plant this season, you made your appearance known, you made your presence known at the expense of Andrew Knight. So was there a purpose to it being Andrew Knight, and that's why you made your debut, or to you, did it not matter who it was in the ring? Were you going to just make your presence known regardless?
It depends who you ask. If you ask Andrew Knight, he's going to say, oh, Eddie Vengeance has a vendetta against me. He has a grudge against me because he couldn't make me a star, so-and-so. But honestly, the real answer is I would have gone out there regardless if it was him, regardless if it was Bateman. I think that's his name. I would have went out there because I needed to go out there and show everybody that I'm the man in charge of Power Plant. But, you know, you can ask whoever you want. Everybody has a different answer, but my answer, the official answer, the Eddie Vengeance answer, is I didn't care who I had to make my debut against. I was gonna go out there and just share the ring with whoever won.
Fair enough answer, and I appreciate your honesty, your transparency. Moving on, Eddie, the very next night after your debut as EVP of JMPRO2K, you ended up being at Friday Night Live that very next night, and that was the night where we booked a triple threat match for the first ever, well, not the first ever, but the next internet champion, and it was Leo Sua, it was Jay Satoro, and then it was David Dawn. But prior to that match going on, there was a segment that happened in the back where we saw members of Excellence beating up David Dawn. I believe it was the Outcast and Leon Matoto, who's on the Power Plant brand. And you were the one to break that fight up. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on exactly how you saw that whole situation transpire, how things broke down for you, and why you felt the need to break up that situation.
Well, I was at Friday night because I got invited by, well, you guys. I got invited to attend. You know, I'm an EVP. I was in catering, trying to get some coffee, trying to get some delicious donuts. You know, Dunkin' Donuts. You know, very popular in the New England area. You know, I was trying to grab myself some coffee, some donuts, and I see this bozo David Dawn walking around, and boy, I was like, maybe I should punch him in the face. But then I saw these two other bozos come running down behind him, take him down. So in my head, I was like, yeah, get that bozo. But then I realized I'm an EVP. So I dropped my donut, dropped my coffee, had to go run down to try to stop this fight because I'm an EVP. I have to make sure everything is good. You know, David Dawn, one of the main eventers of the night, unfortunately could not make it to the main event that night. But whatever, you know, it was nothing personal, just business. David Dawn tried to send me a gift basket the other day. I don't know. I threw that gift basket in the trash. Screw that bozo. But I'm an EVP. Gotta step in when it's right. Simple as that.
You know, the real shame of that night, Eddie, was that you dropped your donut, your coffee, and that was good donuts and good coffee. I mean, forget about it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
All right, regardless of what you guys are saying, I mean, honestly, I thought it was a little bit more than that, but okay. Regardless of that, David Dawn was screwed out of his championship matchup that night. He ended up defeating Outcast on the last episode of Friday Night Live, earning himself a shot at Leo Sua's Internet Championship. And just want to get your quick thoughts on that. What do you think is going to be the outcome of this championship bout between Leo Sua and David Dawn on the next episode of Friday Night Live?
Well, I don't like Leo Sua. That's publicly known. The guy was the Legacy Intercontinental Champion. And then I told him, gotta lay down for this guy. He didn't want to lay down for the guy. So he quit. He left me high and dry when he was the Intercontinental Champion. I don't like Leo Sua. I think he's a pretentious wannabe top Samoan heel, but let's be honest, he's more like Fatu when he was shaking his ass. But let's talk about David Dawn. I don't like the kid, but he was screwed out of his opportunity on the first episode of Friday Night. He defeated Outcast. I feel like that's some just desserts. But at the end of the day, I don't care who wins. I don't care who loses. I just want to see some good old-fashioned nail-biting, teeth gnawing, whatever, wrestling.
All right. Well, fair enough answer. Donnie, we're going to put it back to you. I mean, same question pretty much. Like, what do you think about this whole situation between David Dawn and Excellence and the fact that David Dawn earned his shot, even though he was screwed out of his original shot for the Internet Championship? And it's going to be Leo Sua, and it's going to be David Dawn one-on-one for the Internet Championship on Friday Night Live. I understand it's not a brand that you run or operate, but still, what are your opinions on the entire situation? Do you feel like David Dawn was wronged? And then who do you think is going to come away with the victory?
Well, first off, I mean, David Dawn wasn't wronged. I mean, Excellence just outsmarted him. I mean, forget about it. And I don't even like Leo Sue either. I mean, I think he's a piece of trash. But the facts are the facts. He's a 4-time champion. He's won more belts in JM Pro history than anybody. I mean, forget about it. So my prediction for the match is this. Do I think David Dawn is going to beat Leo Sue? I think that the New Jersey Jets have a better chance of winning the Super Bowl, JM. I'm not going to lie. I mean, forget about it.
All right, well, there you go. There's Donnie Dump's opinion there. And, but we'll move on. And we're going to move on to Donnie. Since you were the last one to speak, we'll move on to what's been going on Showdown. You've had 2 very successful shows. We're coming off the heels of the 10th anniversary, 10th episode of Showdown. Do you want to elaborate to us on what it was like creating this brand for JMPRO2K and what these last 2 episodes have meant to you?
I mean, it's been the greatest show in JMPRO2K history. I mean, forget about it. Look at the numbers. You look at the reaction from the stupid fucking marks. You know what I mean? All the reviews from the fake writers. You know what I mean? Forget about it. They're all saying this Showdown is the greatest wrestling show that they've seen in 2021. You know what I mean? Forget about it. And we've only put out 2 episodes so far. But there's a lot going on Showdown. A lot of problems. A lot of people just have a lot to get off their chest. You know what I mean? Forget about it. And Showdown is the greatest fucking show of all time.
Well, let's elaborate on a little bit more of that, Donnie. I mean, like you said, there's a lot going on in Showdown. You had the number 1 contendership bracket for the World Championship of JMPRO2K. And now, here's the thing. You literally had one of the most competitive tournaments we've ever seen in the history of the company. But yet, on the last episode, we saw a winner prevail, and that was Alex Haas, a member of your stable, The Last Call. Just elaborate for us a little bit of what you were thinking when, obviously, Alex Haas defeated Colin and then defeated Travis Turner simultaneously in the same night, and elaborate on what you thought about the reappearance of J Omega in JMPRO2K, the current world champion, a man that's held the title for over 700 days and hasn't been seen in quite some time. And now that you know your stablemate is going to be facing him for the biggest title in the company, I want to hear your opinions on it and what you were thinking during the entire process of this development.
Well, all I was thinking during those matches was how long it was going to take Alex Haas to beat these slob jalobs. You know what I mean? Forget about it. The second thing was J Omega showed up. He wanted to show up and try to intimidate Alex Haas. Well, let me tell you this. Every man in the last call, every woman in the last call fears nobody. You know what I mean? Forget about it. He's been champion for over 700 days, and I can't even count nowhere close to that. You know what I mean? Forget about it. But I know this. The day that you face Alex Haas in that ring will be the last day you hold the JMPRO2K championship, and it will come into the last call. Yeah, I mean, forget about it.
All right, well, moving right along, we're going to go back to Eddie Vengeance. As we said, the new EVP of Power Plant. And Eddie, you got a lot of interesting things happening on your show as well. As we saw in the last episode of Power Plant, Crystal Crimson became the first ever woman's JMPRO2K Power Plant champion. And we found out what the final bout will be on the men's side of the bracket. It will be James Blackwell taking on Andrew Knight for the JMPRO Men's Power Plant Championship. So do you want to elaborate on that, Eddie, and tell us your thoughts on who you got for that men's title and what you thought after you found out Crystal Crimson became the first women's champion?
Well, first things first, congratulations to Crystal Crimson for securing the Power Plant Women's Championship. She went through the tournament, and at the end of it all, she was the last woman standing. So big ups to her. But now we know the two finalists for the men's Power Plant title. And James Blackwell, Andrew Knight. I personally feel like Andrew Knight, if he was to, and this is a personal opinion, if he was to walk away from excellence, because let's be honest, excellence, he already carries excellence. He has a lot of talent, a lot of skill. Same with Blackwell. Blackwell has a lot of talent, a lot of skill. But in this match, I feel like Blackwell has really shown his strength, his agility, and Andrew Knight has a tall task ahead of him. You know,
that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. And let's elaborate a little bit on that. I mean, between both of you gentlemen, what do you guys think about this matchup when it comes to the fact that who really is the underdog here? Because you would think a guy that has the track record of Andrew Knight would obviously be the favorite. But the way James Blackwell has handled himself in this tournament, he's able to consistently beat all of his opponents with those epic F5s, and they always seem to come in bunches. It seems like it takes only 3 of them to put away his opponent for good. Now, can Andrew Knight somehow overcome that, or is it just inevitable that James Blackwell is the new men's Power Plant champion? And I'm going to go to Donny real quick on this, because Donny himself uses a variation of the F5. So, Donny, what is your opinion?
Well, even though James Blackwell doesn't use as much torque on his F5 as me, I mean, forget about it. Not enough hang time on it. That's why it takes 3 of them. It would usually take me about maybe 1.5. I mean, forget about it. I think James Blackwell is going to eat Andrew Knight for fucking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This guy is like 6'12", you know what I mean? Forget about it. I don't know how, and I know how Andrew Knight could beat James Blackwell in this match. You know how he could do that, Justin Michaels?
How's that?
He calls up Lionel Sewer and calls up the Outcast and tells him to try to jump James Blackwell and make him about a foot shorter before the match. You know what I mean? Forget about it.
All right, well, I'm going to go to Eddie Vengeance. Eddie, it's your show. You deal with these gentlemen on a daily basis. Really, what is your prediction for this men's championship bout to determine the first ever Power Plant champion? Who do you got? Is it Andrew Knight or is it James Blackwell?
It's a toss-up. There's a lot of things going into this match. James Blackwell's size, his strength, that powerful F5 that has to hit 3 times to put away his opponents, which he has done. He has put every man away that he has faced in this tournament. Andrew Knight, on the other hand, he has the skill, he has the potential, but I don't know. I don't see him getting it done when the time comes. So I have to go with James Blackwell. And just in case, I want to say this publicly, loud and clear. If Excellence decides to try to cost and try to interfere and try to be a factor into this match, I guarantee you, I'll go to Friday night. I'll go to Showdown and I'll beat their asses myself if I have to do that. So, or maybe I'll pay some guys. You know, I am Eddie Vengeance. I'm possibly one of the most richest men in this business today. Whether I have legacy backing, whether I have JMPRO backing, whether I have backing from the millions and millions of sodas I have sold around the world, maybe I'll pay somebody to make sure that Excellence don't enter the building and try to help Andrew Knight and try to cost James Blackwell. I want a fair fight, but I feel like we can't get that. Whether it be James Blackwell busting Andrew's head open like a watermelon, whether Andrew Knight actually gets the job done, it's a toss-up. I don't know who's walking out as the champion, but hopefully, and it's a guarantee that Power Plant will show up like it's always done.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to a match that involves all three of us. And we have made a decision that the match will take place on your show, Eddie, on Power Plant. It is the finals of the Tag Team Championship bracket. We have the Charm City Kings taking on Swag on Overload, and that will be, I believe, in your pre-main event, Eddie, on the next episode of Power Plant. And this is a match between a tag team that represents Friday Night Live and a tag team that represents newly branded Sunday Showdown. So let's go right with you, Eddie, since you seem to be in the middle on all this. You're hosting the match, but yet you really don't have a dog in this fight. So really, what do you feel like is going to be the outcome in this matchup? This is the Tag Team World Championship we're talking about. We haven't had a Tag Team World Championship since Season 4. And you have the Charm City Kings, which are men that you have worked with before over in Legacy. You have Michael Carter and Brandon Ace. And then you have a tag team that you really haven't seen before, but they are literally JMPRO2K royalty when it comes to Lawrence Fisher and El Pelador, the Swag on Overload. So really talk to us about why you were willing to host this matchup, to put it on neutral ground, and talk about what your opinion is for this matchup going forward.
I personally tried when I was brought up with the opportunity to host this tag title finals match. It wasn't that much of a decision. I had to say yes, because it was you got two top tag teams, two top tag teams in this company going head to head for the tag titles. You got two big dudes who are just bent on tearing everything in sight in Michael Carter and Lawrence Fisher. And then you got two very quick, speedy type of dudes in Brandon Ace and El Pelador. I don't know. I think he said Pelador means one thing, Pelador means another thing. I don't want to get into it, but there you got two of the top two tag teams in JM Pro. And
I mean, you can say it whatever way you want, Eddie. Honestly, I've worked with the guy for 5 years. I can't pronounce his name right.
And it's it's bound to be something great and something that's going to leave everybody's minds blown. And why wouldn't I want it on Power Plant? Power Plant is the next big thing. It hosts a lot of people who could be the next big thing in this company. You got a lot of great talents, and what better way to bring eyes to those top talents and to the top young blood brand. It's not promotion, it's a brand. Than host the tag team title finals.
Absolutely right. Well, we'll move on to you, Donnie. I mean, you have a dog in this fight. It's your tag team versus mine. I mean, you've been saying it on commentary for weeks now, and you've been saying it behind the scenes. Obviously, you're cheered for Swag on Overload. You believe that Lawrence Fisher and El Pele will pull it off and will bring the title to Showdown. But talk about the tournament and how they climb the bracket, and talk about your opinion on who's going to win the final match.
Well, usually I don't trust a man who wears a mask, you know what I mean? Forget about it. You know who wears masks? Fucking bank robbers. Forget about it, you know what I mean? But I had to go with Swag on Overload because of the representation of Showdown. You know what I mean? Forget about it. It's a tag team that has gotten to this point. They've gotten to the final. They're going to win the final. You know why? Because Charm City, when's the last time fucking Baltimore has ever won anything? Yeah, you know I mean? Forget about it.
Well, that's where we're going to disagree. Obviously, my brand, Friday Night Live, I feel like Charm City Kings is the best tag team to represent us in this tag team bout. But we're going to find out regardless in a week or two time. We're going to find out who is the first tag team champions of season 5. It's either going to be Brandon Ace and Michael Carter, the Charm City Kings, or it's going to be El Pele and Michael Carter. Lawrence Fisher. I apologize there. And that's the Swag on Overload. And those are going to be the teams that face in this matchup. They're going to be on Power Plant, but each team represents either Friday Night Live or Sunday Showdown. So this is going to be an interesting matchup, and the fact that it's been cross-branded to the point where it's on the third brand to just set it on neutral ground. This is something new and historic for JMPRO2K. We've never had anything like this happen, so I'm really looking forward to this match, and may the best team win. But moving right along, we're going to get into the final topic of the show, and then we're going to close this out. I know you two are very busy men, myself included. Everyone saw the ending of Friday Night Live. Everyone saw Kelly Parker win the JMPRO2K Women's World Championship Tournament. And then after the match, she ends up seeing Rose Flynn reappear, who is the longest reigning JMPRO World Wrestling Women's Champion in the history of the company, and she's also undefeated and never lost that title. Now, the controversy is she did retire, but now we're being told that
she died.
All right, I know nothing about that, but I'm going to continue on. She did retire, and supposedly now we're being told that her retirement papers were not put in properly. So technically her retirement never was registered, and now we technically have 2 Women's World Champions in JMPRO2K. And the question for you two, as my management staff, and I figured what better way to have this conversation was to be live on the JMPRO2K podcast. What do we do in this situation where we technically now have 2 women holding the same title? And I'm going to start it off with Donnie.
Well, first off, I'm with Eddie Vengeance on this one. I thought Rose Flynn died too. You know what I mean? Forget about it. I guess they must have resurrected her. You know what I mean? But I guess she didn't get her retirement papers in. She was Brett Favre, and she retired. She unretired. She retired. She's back. She's not back. Well, she wants to come back. She says she's the women's champion. Kelly Parker thinks she's the women's champion. How do you solve this issue? It's a tough question that I don't even think the dump man has an answer for just yet. Yeah, I mean, forget about it.
All right, well, then we'll move on to Eddie and see if Eddie Vengeance has any solution to this problem. Is this anything you've ever dealt with before in your career, Eddie?
Absolutely. You see, back when Legacy was booming, it was on the rise. Dawn Torres, who had been the Valkyrie Women's Champion, she handed me the title. She said, I'm going to go start a family. Hold on to this for me. And I held on to it, but I said, there has to be a new champion. So I crowned a new champion. And out of nowhere, Dawn Torres walks through my office doors and says, I'm back. I want my title back. I told her, your title is already on the waist of someone else. So what happened? I put them in a one-on-one match. But I feel in this situation, Rose Flynn, who retired, she vacated the belt. I think so. I don't remember. I think she died. I don't think she died, but now she's trying to pull a Michael Jordan 1995, and she's trying to come back. I really don't know what's going to happen here. I really don't have a solution.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to talk about this further and really come up with some type of solution, whether it's a match between the two or something else. But having two women's world champions is definitely troublesome. So we're gonna have to figure that out. Honestly, that's pretty much everything. I guess the only thing I will bring up before we end this podcast, and really has nothing to do with Eddie, but we'll get his opinion on it also. But Donnie, I'm just gonna bring it up to you. Chris Malenko's promo. It was out of line. I don't understand why he came at me like that. I don't understand where this came from. You're his boy. You guys are last call. I gotta hear your opinion on this and what the hell is going on.
I mean, what's going on? You heard the man. You heard his promo. Everything he said, I mean, I can't really disagree with you. I mean, forget about it. He hasn't got a fair opportunity. He hasn't had a fair shake around here. And it's absolutely mind-boggling. It's fucking blasphemy, you know what I'm saying? Forget about it. The man is a fucking golden ticket, you know what I mean? He puts fans in the fucking stands, you know what I mean? He should be treated fucking better.
What do you want me to do? The guy literally just showed up and then started verbally attacking me. Meanwhile, on your show, your best friend Alex Haas is about to face J Omega for the World Championship. I don't know what you guys want, but how am I supposed to give everyone the same shot?
How you going to give everyone the same shot? Well, the shots that the last call should be getting is every shot, you know what I mean? Forget about it. It goes to last call and then everybody else, you know what I mean? Forget about it.
All right, so if Alex wins the World Championship, it would be okay with the last call if I just put Alex against Chris then? That'd be okay?
I mean, as much as they both would do it, I mean, forget about it because, we're the greatest competitors in the fucking world, I mean, forget about it. We're like the New York Yankees of fucking wrestling. I can't let that happen, you know what I mean? Because I don't think JMPRO even has enough money to make that match possible, you know what I mean? Forget about it.
All right, so now people understand what I'm dealing with here, but Eddie, come on, chime in here. Am I being put over a barrel, or do you really believe some of the things that Chris said about me and the way I run this company?
I honestly cannot say. I don't know your business dealings with Chris Malenko. I've dealt with Chris Malenko myself, but every time Chris Malenko came into the office to try to talk business, I basically just handed him a martini and said, let's do business. And he would tell me what he wanted, and I would tell him, you got it. Because that's how you do business as Eddie Vengeance. But I honestly don't know. In this type of situation, the last call, it seems they're trying to run rampant all over the place, all over the industry. I saw what they did to poor Elliot Collins in Legacy World Wrestling. And then they put some Slob Jalab, Hillbilly Tennessee Jack in charge over there. The last call is going to tear that place apart. So I honestly cannot say. Hopefully, JMPRO doesn't suffer the same fate Legacy suffered.
All right, well, I'm not going to go further on this because it's just starting to bother me. But you know what? You brought it up, Eddie, and that will be the final topic here. Talk about that. How are you feeling? Seeing what Legacy World Wrestling did, seeing that Tennessee Jack was named the new president over there. That's got to sting.
It stings a lot. I worked since I was young, putting that whole entire business together, whole entire company together. Yeah, Tennessee Jack is a legend in the national wrestling world. He held the national wrestling heavyweight championship back in 80, back in 89, back in the 90s. Him and his brother have cultivated a lot of people back in the 90s, but this ain't the 90s anymore. The wrestling world has changed. The landscape has changed. Why are you gonna put a nearly 6-year-old man in charge of the highest rising, one of the most booming companies in the world? You don't see Warzone Wrestling hiring some old man from down the street to run their operations. You don't see someone trying to run Dynasty. You don't see an old man trying to run Dynasty Pro. So why are you gonna put a 60-plus-year-old man in charge of Legacy Wrestling? I have a question. I really want to know, what does JV3 think is going to benefit him by putting some 60-plus-old man, some hillbilly, a guy that that couldn't get over in this day and age. His sons can't get over. His youngest son, had to use a pizza gimmick to try to get over. Yeah, it's all cool and all with the kids, but pizza doesn't sell. And is what frustrates me. Legs for Wrestling is not what it used to be. It used to be a top tier promotion, a top tier product, and they've now just done many, many bad decisions. They let the last call run rampant. They had Rob Kamen over here running around like he's the top businessman over here knocking out the openweight champion. It is absurd. It is sickening to even look at. What's next? They're gonna put David Don in charge of security? I don't know, but maybe they'll bring Jay and Omega in. Maybe they'll have Jay and Omega be the world champion. You never know. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Well, I guess it's fair enough to say there's Eddie Bench's opinion on that. Right before we sign off, though, we got to get Donny Dumps' opinion on the same matter. Tennessee Jack, the new president of Legacy, and you're signed over there as an active talent, Donny. So, what are you gonna say? What do you think of the new changes over in Legacy World Wrestling?
Well, first off, Justin, if you didn't know, I hold a Legacy World Record over there for most eliminations of the Clash. I mean, forget about it. Secondly, I know Tennessee Jack. We go back a long ways. I first met him, partied with him over in Nashville back in '94, you know what I mean? Drinking some whiskey, fucking some strippers, listening to country music, you know what I mean? Forget about it. But anyway, Johnny Doe, I met the kid. I've known the kid since he was, a little fucking doughboy, you know what I mean? Forget about it, right? And fucking, first off, if you're in the catering in the back and Johnny Doe brought the pizza, I wouldn't eat a slice if I was you. You know what I mean, forget about it. All right. Secondly, you talk about, I'm glad you brought that up, Eddie Vengeance. Jaden Omega. Earlier today, he had the fucking goddamn gall, the fucking nerve to hit up Donny Dumps and say, Donny, can you please take down the video of Chris Malenko stuffing my Legacy paycheck in my mouth? And I said, kid, I can't do that. I live in fucking America. And we can put up whatever we want until they fucking ban you. You know what I mean? Forget about it. That means you're canceled. But I gave him the opportunity to win a JMPRO2K contract on the next showdown. He will have a dark match against an opponent of the Don's choosing. And if he wins, then he will win a JMPRO2K contract. Forget about it.
Make sure he doesn't slip on a banana on his way to the ring.
All right. Well, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined here by both executive vice presidents of JM Promotions. Thank you so much, Donny, and thank you so much, Eddie. We covered a lot tonight, but this is the second episode of season 5, I believe. And I gotta say, this was one hell of an episode right here. Two men that have a lot of experience in this business, whether it be in the ring, behind the scenes, whatever. They know this business inside and out. So thank you for joining us here for this edition of the JMPRO2K podcast, and we will catch you next time.
Forget about it.
Comodo bocca picchi te va bene, se tu ne balli in mezzo americano.